Hey everybody, Bill in Virginia here, and it is a lovely Saturday evening in Richmond. This is September 5th. The 1,000 subscriber contest has just ended as of about 20 minutes ago, and I've got the list on the Excel sheet done, and I will be doing another video for that. In fact, you will all see that video before this one comes out. But what I'm going to be doing here is I'm getting it prepped so that I can continue on doing the mountain work. I'm going to get the sculpt mold put in place and then come back and start doing some of the plaster work. I've been doing a variety of odds and ends on the layout. I've been playing with what a track arrangement might look like in this industrial area. I have not started to build the buildings. I have kind of looked at the footprint of the buildings that I've got inside to do on a cooler or wet day, and they probably will fit in this arrangement. I've not done anything to put the track in place permanently, so I'll have some flexibility in this, but I wanted to do some switching, so that's what I'm doing now. What I've been doing also is I've been doing a lot of trees. So these are woodland scenic kits. I got some very high strength adhesive, like not quite rubber cement, but the next grade up, so that it's got good tact. It holds the material onto the tree armatures, and it really looks good with the different styles and colors of foam that I've got. Most of those are pine trees. Now I have been also doing fall colors, because up on the top of the town, or where this town is going to be, it is fall. Cold has kind of hit the trees that are already at higher elevations, similar to what I've got going on down on that end of the layout. I'm going to be doing up here as well. So I've taken Woodland Scenics trees and kits that I've been doing. I've used some JTT fall foliage colors, reddish brown and yellowish orange, and I've been going through and I've been making a variety of trees that are going to show their fall colors that'll be sitting up here in this town, and starting on some of the areas that are well, right now under the wax paper, a certain elevation that got hit and nipped by frost, and that's what I'm going to model. But a lot of things going on right now. So next piece in this video, I should have the sculpt mold put in place on the lower half of the mountain. Just like I did here, I'm going to be putting it on, not really worrying about shape. The plaster is going to do the shaping for me when I get to that point, but just to kind of seal this up so I've got a palette to work from. Well, it is Sunday morning. So last night, before I shut down, I went through and I got the sculpt mold on this lower half of the mountain, except in that area, again, like in previous videos, I've got to build a bridge and I've got to redo the groundwork, so I'm not going to get to that until later. But with sculpt mold, you can kind of build a basic shape. So what I will be doing here is, you can see the rock layers on the build from late last week. So as the rock's going in this direction, rocks facing on this wall are going to look horizontal, because it's just going to be how the rock layers are going to be expressed on the side of the cliff. Now when I start to get into this area, I will be able to start to pick up that pattern again over there where it's starting to go down. So it'll be kind of gentle slope here, and then it's going to start to steeply slope over here. So I can start to build these layers up, and I'll use plaster to build up the different nubs and different shapes like what I've got over on that piece. So that's what I'm going to be doing later this afternoon, starting in on that. This project for putting the plaster down will take some time. Not going to be in any hurry on this one. I want to make it look good. I'll work on some landforms along that transition with the wax paper. And once I get this all done, yeah, I'll probably stain it. I don't need to wait to do the top part. What I do need for the top part is I need to get a bunch more wax paper because it'll be a little bit more extensive when I fold it down over scenery already done before I get to that piece. But that's later. We'll see how this one progresses here. Well, it's mid-Sunday afternoon, so after lunch came out into the garage and I put on the plaster Paris to kind of build up ridges. I've done the stain and paint. Now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to let it soak for a little bit, and then I'm going to take paper towels and come back in and blot and pull and wipe to kind of give it that shade there. There should be a lot of color variation. So using the paper towels will get rid of the excess stains and paints, and then that should open it up to some nice tones here. Now again, a lot of these areas that you see are going to be covered up, like above the tunnel portal there where it gets into that sort of gully area. That's going to be mostly vegetation. Up along where the seam is between the top piece, bottom piece, that's going to be mostly vegetation. Some of the flatter areas in between different rock strata, there's going to be vegetation on those, just like you would expect to see in a mountainous area. So let me blot this and let's see how that looks when I'm done. So this area I have not blotted yet, but then coming over to this area, you can see the difference already and how just by blotting it's taken off excess. Bring it over here, there's still pockets where it's wet, and that's fine. That'll all dry. But see how it blends in well with where I left off on the other piece. So I will finish the blotting of the rest of this, and then we'll see how it all looks. But I'm happy with it. It looks pretty good to my eye. All right, here we are. I have it blotted. You can still see shiny areas where it's wet in the crevices, and that's fine. That'll dry out over another day or so. But it looks pretty good to my eye here. It matches up well with the first area. Now you will notice that the dip of the rocks here is a little bit shallower and it gets steeper as I work over to this direction. It actually does match up fairly well with what I did over here. And that's okay. So, it's sort of in a geologic sense, it's an anticline. It's sort of a dome that's plunging with the way the rock strata is. But you see that a lot in the Appalachians. You see it in the Rocky Mountains. You see a lot of it where you've got rocks that are curved and bendy. The only area that I'm going to do a little more work on is right over at that tunnel portal in the center of the shot. You can see right along the portal is kind of on a little bit darker gray, and I don't have enough rock carved right there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of scrape that down a little bit so that some more plaster of Paris will stick. And then add a little bit more beef in that area and carve it a little bit more, but that'll be for another day. I'll let everything kind of dry out a little bit and see how it goes. All right, next one might show a little scenery because I should be able to put some scenery in this area. That's not going to bother me doing anything up here at a later date. So more to come. Well, had a volcanic eruption, blew the top off my mountain. Oh, I'm making more progress. I did do a little bit more detail work over by that tunnel portal, and I'm satisfied with that. I'll color that up a little bit on the brownish side. That gives me a little bit more texture, so I'm good. But you can see wax paper worked perfect. Great separation between the upper and the lower part of the mountain. So everything is nice and crisp. I got a nice line. I'll be able to put vegetation on this side, blend it in. You're not going to see the top part when it's in place. And then here's what I'm talking about in the inside. I've got access to my inside tracks. I also have space for storage. So I can put odds and ends in here that are not needing to see the light of day for a very long time, like jewel cases for engines, bits and pieces of spare track. Just some of the odds and ends that I've got that once the layout is fairly well done that I don't want to put up in storage bins. It can go right in the layout, and it's pretty good. Plus I can get access to the track just in case I do have an issue with a train derailing. So far I've not had any derailments inside the mountain at all, so I'm going to try my best to keep it that way. Starting to get some of the vegetation in around the cliffs. Just doing a little bit this evening. It is still Sunday, but got some vegetation starting. I got some color added to that area by the far tunnel portal where I did a little additional carving. Got the debris at the cliff base, some vegetation. Got a little bit to do, clean up inside that tunnel. Those are just little loose pieces that are in there from plaster. I just got to get rid of those. But ballast is glued. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to let it dry tonight, then come back in tomorrow, clean the track in this area, and hey, I'm going to run some trains. So it should be good. Also, you can kind of see what I'm doing in the middle here for storage. So it's a nice little area inside the mountain to take care of storing odds and ends that I'm not going to use every day. So it's a good little place, and that helps clean up a little bit on my workbench that I don't have to find another place for. So probably do one more segment on this video, and that'll be of some trains running through the scenery here. Well, late Sunday evening. I've had a nice relaxing day out in the garage and outside too. But now I'm starting to put trees in. I've still haven't cleaned the track yet. Glue is still not dry, but I'm starting to put in some foliage. You can kind of see how this is going to look. I will do more trees in some of these low areas. Nothing here. Then a little bit more on here in these, and then up. This area along here, I will wait until I get the top done. Then I'll come back once this is finished and then do the scene separation, which I'll probably put in like rows of hedges, a lot of trees through here, and onto this piece too, just to blend this in. And that way I should have a hopefully invisible seam, unless you're really looking for it. But the last scene for this one is going to be the trains running. I'm going to do that tomorrow and run some trains through this area and see how it looks on the camera. So one more segment and that's it.